Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So in today's video, it's not going to be reloading related or anything like that. We're going to transition over to a cooking video. I've shown this particular recipe on the channel a few times now, but it was a request from my grandma for an upcoming family get together. And of course, you can't say no to grandma. So today I'm going to be making turnip green soup. I also have a taco soup going on this back stovetop eye over here, so we're not worried about that one, but I will kind of talk through this one as well. This is for dinner tonight. Typically I like, if I know we're going to eat soup or I'm going to want to eat soup for dinner, I try to make it a day in advance. If you know, you know, soups are always better the following day when they've been sitting for a little while, so it just is what it is, fact of life. Don't argue it, just embrace it. So with this turnip green soup, with the family dinner being tomorrow, I want to go ahead and make it today, let it sit overnight, and of course we'll heat it up for the family get together. So what I'm doing right now, I've got my Lodge pot that's over medium heat. It's been heating up now for a few minutes. I'm going to throw a little bit of olive oil in there, a little extra virgin olive oil, and then I'm going to be dumping in my Conecuh sausage. I've been slicing it up over here on the side. You can't really see that, but I'll show you before we dump it in what that looks like. So let's get this going. Just a little bit, not much. Doesn't take much. And while that's running, I'm just gonna throw the lid on it because it's gonna be popping and cooking and all of that fun stuff, making a lot of noise. I gotta finish slicing up the rest of this Conecuh. So, one thing I will say about this particular recipe is the recipe that I originally followed that my mom sent me. It calls for some type of smoked sausage, right? I think it's like Hillshire or something, Hillshire Farms or some type of just standard smoked sausage that you can go buy at the grocery store. And I'll swap that out with Conecuh sausage, and it makes this soup 10 times better. So that's my recommendation on the recipe alteration there. Just swap it out with Conecuh. Conecuh sausage makes everything better. But what I will say is go with the smaller diameter Conecuh sausage, not the standard original like large diameter smoked sausage from them. Go with the smaller diameter stuff, simply because it's the same quantity of smoked sausage, right? It's a 1 pound package, 16 ounces, so it's a 1 pound package of smoked sausage. But because the diameter is smaller and the quantity is the same, you get more pieces out of that 1 pound. You get more pieces out of that 1 pound package, right? So the way I look at it is the likelihood of you getting a bite of Conecuh sausage in the soup is increased if you use the smaller diameter Conecuh, right? If you use the larger diameter stuff, then your chances are not as high of you getting a bite of that sausage every time you eat a spoonful of the soup. So, not that that's necessarily a requirement, but I think it just sort of adds to it and makes the soup taste better. So, it's my recommendation. I'm just going to finish cutting this up. Going to get this stuff dropped in. And just browning up some ground beef back here on the taco soup side of the house. This taco soup is super simple. Super. No pun intended. But it's a really easy recipe, and I almost always make it with ground deer meat, but I did not sit any out today. It's all in the freezer, and I didn't sit any out. And so when I was at the grocery store, me and my daughter trying to figure out what I was going to make for dinner, and taco soup seems like a really good option, especially right now because we just had a pretty good cold front move in here in North Alabama, and the high today was like 60, so felt amazing. It's kind of kick off the soup season. So let me just get this Conecuh sausage cut up. All right, that's the last of it. Gonna get it dropped in. Let's see. You can see down the bottom of the pan, it's already browning up. This Conecuh is already starting to cook. Which it's already smoked sausage. It's already technically cooked. All we're wanting to do is sort of brown it up a little bit. So that's what we're wanting to see. Get that stuff to brown up. Next up, we've got to dice up our onion. Now on the onion side of the house, down. About to dump all the ingredients in there. So for the onion, just a standard white onion. I typically, so this is, you can see sort of relative size of my hand and the size of the onion. So not small, but also not the biggest onion ever. Typically I'll go with like half an onion when they're this size and dice it up. It really depends. I mean, you can put a whole onion in there. It's up to you, your call. But, let's see. I need, and you, on the taco soup, I generally go with beef broth, which is what the recipe calls for, but today I got a substitute with chicken broth, so not exactly ideal, but you know, you do the best you can with what you got. So 1 1/4 cups. That's in there. Now while that's doing its thing, I'm going to dice up this onion. I might just do the whole onion actually, now that I'm sitting here and getting ready to dice it up. I might do the whole onion actually. And there's really no special way to dice the onion or anything like that. It's cut it up best you can. You know, if you're a pro in the kitchen and all that fun stuff, then you do you, but I'm not. So I just kind of cut it up best of my abilities. Let's see, that's already pretty good. Oh yeah, check it out. Kaneka is starting to brown up. Let me show you guys what half the onion looks like diced up. So there's half the onion. I don't know, may just go with this. I'll just go with half the onion. I don't think we need the whole onion. I can save that for something else. But along with the request from my grandmother, it was also a request from a friend of ours. He had mentioned it to my wife. He's like, hey, if he makes that turnip green soup again, I'll take a bowl of it. So this is also for him. Let me see here. Need to taco soup. Need to get this stuff. Going as well, since that's going to actually be dinner. It's kind of more important than this turnip green soup. So let's throw a can of Rotel in there. Just standard mild Rotel. Let's throw in some fire roasted tomatoes. Recipe on the taco soup actually calls for a couple cans of these fire roasted tomatoes, but I'm only doing 1 can because my bunch, I don't like the tomatoes as much. Alright, now our onions are going in. Let's get all the onions down in there. Let's see what we're working with. We're definitely wanting to scrape all the good stuff off the bottom of the pot. Definitely want that to be incorporated in the soup. Now we're just going to throw our lid back on. Switch back over to the taco soup and add in 1 pack of just original taco seasoning. Also 1 pack of ranch seasoning. Stir this up. Now I gotta get all of the, let's see, 1 can pinto beans. I gotta drain, so 1 can of pintos, drain some kidney beans, can of corn, can of black beans. That's it. That's what goes in the taco soup and you're done. So that's super easy if you've been following along. You can make that piece of cake, right? Super simple, super easy. So then let me get these opened up and drained. Always helps just to have a big old whatever colander or whatever this thing is. Open them up, just dump them all in there, rinse them off. And then you're good to go. Meanwhile, so you can kind of see what our Conecuh and onion, kind of what our base is looking like here, how that's coming together, looking great. Again, this is over medium heat. I gotta open up these cans for taco soup, get all this stuff dumped in so it can kind of be simmering, I guess we'll say. Because the main thing is just getting the ground beef browned. I mean, once that stuff is cooked, I mean, really you're just dumping everything in and letting it sit. That's why the taco soup is one of those too, where it's just so much better the next day. But in a pinch, trying to make dinner, this is a good option. Doesn't take much. Doesn't take much. That we're gonna throw in another throw in a little more broth. End up putting in about, I'd say maybe 3 cups. Let her go. So that's that. Actually, I'm gonna turn the heat up just a little bit on that. Now over here, on the other hand, we might be turning the heat down just a touch. Now the original recipe does call for go down medium low. That's exactly how I like to see the bottom of the pan, bottom of the pot, whatever. Get all that good stuff working together on our soup. Get those onions cooked down. The Conecuh, like I said, is already cooked. Some of these pieces are a little more done than I would typically get them, but they're gonna be just fine in the soup. So now that we got that, I'm gonna dump in our turnip greens. Normally I like to purchase 2 cans of the Glory brand turnip greens. this is the large can. It's the 27-ounce can. I like to get the 2 individual cans because that comes out to like 29 ounces. I think they're for like 14.5 ounce cans. I prefer those, but Publix only had the large cans, so that's what we're going with. And then 1 can of Great Northern beans, and then 1 can of navy beans. Now on these, I try to do the low sodium version. Of both of these, as well as like the chicken broth, and that's just because there's so much sodium in the Conecuh itself, plus the vegetable soup mix that I'm about to add in. So I try to go low sodium on everything else, but there wasn't a low sodium option on the navy beans. I just went with Bush's for both navy beans and Great Northern beans. I don't at least drain those, just dump everything right in. Pack of Knorr vegetable mix. Just get that in there. Once you've got that dumped in, then the original recipe calls for 5 cups of chicken broth. I've kind of cut that back because I don't drain the beans. I don't drain those. Generally, I go with like 4 cups, 4 or 4.5 cups. That should be 2. As you can see, there's 2 already. And then, also, I like to go with the Pacific. There's actually a high protein version of this that I used to be able to find all the time, but they did not have it. So just grab the low sodium. So now, hang on 2 seconds. All right, and we're back. Had to make a phone call. So I added in the 2 cups of chicken broth, and then now I'm about to dump in 2 more cups. So this will be 4 total, so you can kind of get an idea of how that's looking. Then from there, I'm gonna dump in a little bit of garlic powder and Tabasco sauce. So, teaspoon of garlic powder, and then Tabasco sauce is really more just to taste, right? You're gonna have to sort of figure that one out. Don't dump a whole bottle in it, but put a little bit. That's it. That's done. Now, of course, just let it all cook, come together. We'll show you guys. So we'll pause the video, and then I normally let it go for, maybe 30 minutes like this. Just make sure everything's incorporated. That vegetable soup mix is well incorporated, and then pretty much call it good. Dump it in a big container, let it sit in the fridge overnight, and like I said, the next day is way better. So we'll just call the video done right there. That's how you do it. Super simple and easy. soup that you can make somewhat, I'll say, relatively inexpensive. Hang on, I'll tell you. Roundabout. Let's see, the turnip greens, that can was $3.50. Navy beans was $1.40. Northern beans was $1.40, so you're, $2.80 plus turnip greens, so you're about $6.30. About $6.30 right there. Conecuh sausage, you're looking at $7.50 for the pound. So where are we at? Basically 14 bucks, give or take. Onion was $1.57, so $15.57. And then of course you gotta get your vegetable mix. So we're at about $18. That was $2. And then your chicken broth. Let's see, that was on sale. So about $5 for both containers together. So yeah, by the time you get the chicken broth and everything, I mean, you're probably all in. If you've got to buy the Tabasco and all that stuff, if you don't already have the seasonings like the Tabasco and the garlic powder and stuff, you can be all in on this about 25 bucks, depending on where you're at, right? This will make a lot of soup. You can eat it for several meals. So not expensive at all. Throw all those ingredients together, good to go. So that's it. That's where we're gonna leave it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. You saw the taco soup as well, sort of as I was talking about the turnip green soup. Super simple, super easy, relatively cheap. The most expensive part was the ground beef. Ground beef ain't cheap, which is why I like to use deer meat. So that's it. That's where we're gonna leave it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one.